There's something that's also very affectionate about Burning Fields of Hatred. I've found, like, listening to those songs. I don't know why. Again, maybe it's because I know you, but there's a real affection for the material, whether it's the covers or whether it's
Mhm.
the original songs. I was very surprised to see a Lamb of God cover on there, and it's not surprising in a bad way. It's a fucking great song, that. I mean, I don't like
It's a good
Randy
song, yeah.
Blythe, but I think that everything, barring the last Lamb of God record, is fucking excellent. It's really, really good modern metal. The last album is atrocious, but everything up to that point was brilliant. One I was missing though, "1,000 Days in Sodom" by Venom. I don't know why more people don't pick that track up. It's fucking fantastic, and somebody
Yeah.
needs to do either a ballsy cover of it or do it live.
Uh-huh. You have to understand, man, these were cover songs. We were doing like how old was I? So the oldest song on there is the song Everything Dead, which is track 3. And
2009, that.
yeah, I was 14 then, bro. I was 14 when I played that. But
Yeah.
no, it's not an excuse, but rather accessibility. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know
yeah,
that
yeah.
Venom song at that time. The fact that I even knew some of those other like the fact that I've got Mayhem covers from Chimera and a Grand Declaration on that tape, I think is pretty fucking rare and old school. Which is, by the
Mhm.
way, life is a fucking cool way of doing stuff. Because just earlier today, I was talking to Necrobutcher for Iblis Manifestations, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I'm kind of accustomed to it at this point, where I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I get to do things, and I'm not going to limit the perception of how great life can be in my head. But then sometimes I'm kind of like, this is kind of fucking crazy. Like when we were at Inferno, I was hanging out with Attila and Mustis, who used to be in Dimu. And these are obviously guys I've listened to for fucking years, and then I'm showing them like the Azrael music video out on my phone, and they're both like, "Oh wow, this is pretty cool. I like that you use the instruments." And on the inside, I'm like, "No fucking way, really?" Like I never even thought I'd see these kind of people in person or see them live, let alone the fact that I'm actually here. It's in Norway. Like I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy, but I'm kind of at that point now where I'm like, yeah, good. We deserve this, because every single day we are striving for greatness, and it's good to reflect on it from time to time. But I'm just here to fucking deliver now. So that's that.
I'm just as a side note, I'm the same way as you, and I think that's part of the reason why we get on so well is we came from two very different countries, but we have one of the main things we have in common, aside from a lot of our values, I think, and our approach to life, is we both came from a place where we have a very high level of appreciation for the things that we got musically, and we're on a similar journey when it comes to so often you'll be speaking to somebody, or it's like I sometimes find I'll be texting someone or I'll be messaging someone, and we're talking like we're bros, and then I stop and I think to myself, Jesus Christ, I was listening to this dude's music 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and if you had told me in South Africa, in Bloemfontein, South Africa, hey, at some point, you're going to be in a position where you're going to be able to call Swartalv of Gehenna like a very good friend.
Yeah,
I would have been like,
he's a cool
you're
guy.
fucking
Yeah.
insane. It would never have happened. It was the same when I spoke to Attila, same when I spoke to Necro Butcher, same when I spoke to David Vincent. The level of fucking adoration I used to have for that guy when I was young, like when I was like 13, 14 years old, because for a number of reasons. One, he was a fucking badass frontman. Two, he was this like I always felt like I had a very weird relationship with alcohol and with drugs and stuff like that. I was militantly against any of that stuff, and it broke my heart seeing Pantera on like the Volga videos and stuff like that carrying on the way that they did. I always
Right.
felt like metal needs to be rebellion against everything that I dislike about society, and David Vincent to me embodied that. And no place
Mm.
did he do it better than there was this Kerrang, I think it was Kerrang, or it was actually Metal Hammer. They used to do the stupid fucking what's in the van section every single month, and they interviewed him, and I'll never forget his answers, because it was like, the first question is, who's the most untidy, or who's the biggest slob in the band? None of us are slobs. What have you been drinking on this tour? Water. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I remember seeing his interview with Vanessa Warwick, and she's asking him these brain dead, fucking idiotic questions, and he's just like mopping the floor with her.
Yeah.
And
That's a
then
shame because she was very good as well.
Podcast, when I had him on the podcast, I didn't think about it when we were having the conversation, but when I said end recording, I sat there thinking, holy fuck, I've just spent an hour talking to a guy that was this to me would have been as big as speaking to Phil Anselmo or James Hetfield, if not bigger. So
no, it's great. And you did a great job of handling that as well, and I think that it's crazy, man. I'll ask you a question based on that then. I know this is your show, but we're having a conversation.
Questions around, yeah.
Not when I'm around.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Do you ever, like when you say like you're texting or messaging someone and then it's like, you kind of pinch yourself in because you remember, oh yeah, I'm like just casually texting to my own childhood hero kind of thing. Do you ever feel any degrees of imposter syndrome when it comes to that?
I thought you were going to ask me, do I ever sign off with like a love emoji or a like those kiss face?
Well, I always
that I do as standard.
Well, for me, I always just send the aubergines and the squirting emojis. Yeah, gets everyone's attention. That.
No, I don't. It's a weird thing. No, I don't. When I'm face to face with anybody, I'm actually pretty okay dealing with anybody. When I'm in groups, I've got a weird thing. I'm quite an outgoing person. I don't really like being in groups. I like talking to people one to one. I'm not really a fan of standing. Like when people go to the pub and it's 5 of them standing around in a circle, it's like, I find it so mind-numbingly boring. It feels like somebody is fucking kicking me in the skull repeatedly. If I talk one to one with somebody, to me that's completely different. Or maybe like maybe maximum 3 people. But yeah, so I don't have it when I'm there. I think I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or just feeling like you just generally either don't want to be there or shouldn't be there. But I don't like being in big fucking gangs, big groups and stuff like that. It's not my thing.
That's interesting that you say that. I feel exactly the same. I've been like that for years, actually. It wasn't so difficult, let's say, for example, when we did the panel at Inferno, because, you all get your own turn and everyone's got something to share. But I don't like that dynamic too much either. And I think the reasoning for it, I wonder if this resonates with you, is because when you know what you're capable of, because conversation is a skill at the end of the day, when you know what your skills are in that realm, and when you know that you have the capacity and the capability to really connect with another human being, it's difficult to do it in that situation because it means that you have to basically single one person out of that group and then have your own conversation with them whilst ignoring the rest.
Yes.
And it's a half-assed way of doing it because you can't guarantee the same degree of attention from them, and it just doesn't fit in the group dynamic. So I think that it's almost like, well, if I'm not going to have the same quality of conversation that I would like to be having, then I'm just not interested in engaging at all. Does that resonate with you at all on that?
1000%.